This is the Solarpalooza presentation. We're very happy. We are GRNE Solar putting on this program specifically for Naperville that we have dubbed the Solarpalooza because we're trying to get as many people as possible and help everybody in Naperville go solar, put money back in their own pockets, stop renting their power from the grid, start owning it by going solar. Again, we are GRNE, and we'll tell you a little bit about us and why we are qualified to be telling you about solar and why you should be happy to be working with us. So my name, I'll introduce ourselves really quick here. My name is Ryan. I've been working with GRNE as a sales consultant for the last 2 years. Previously to that, I had my education in green construction and renewable energy. And I'll let my other presenters as well introduce themselves.
Yeah, hey everybody. Thanks for passing the baton there, Ryan. Yeah, same thing. I've been working for. My name is Connor Allen. I've been working for GRNE Solar for almost 2 years. My primary role with GRNE has been, handling residential and commercial sales. So we take a lot of the, initial leads, and when folks are interested in going solar, and we really guide them and kind of help them along the way and make sure we educate them.
I'm Andrew Frum. I'm one of the sales consultants as well here with GRNE. I've only been with the company for a couple of months now, but I'm learning quickly, and I'm able to help with both residential and commercial projects as well. I got my bachelor degree from Miami University in Ohio, and I studied environmental earth science and sustainability. When I figured out that solar was not only something to learn about, something that you could help people transition to, fell in love with it. So.
Well, great. Yeah, we definitely, the team here at GRNE Solar, just outside of the sales consultants here, we're very well established. Our team has over 2 decades of green construction experience. So between our owners building and maintaining green sustainable homes, to most of our installation staff and our technical teams having worked in solar before they were even GRNE Solar, we all have the experience. We can make sure that everything is done correctly and done correctly the first time. But about GRNE, so we were established in 2012, making us one of the oldest operating solar companies in the Midwest. We are headquartered right in Palatine, Illinois, so not too far away from Naperville. We do have a warehouse out in Elk Grove Village, and then also satellite offices too in Indiana, Iowa, and Nebraska. So we are very centralized here in the Midwest and have been serving the Midwest for nearly a decade now. Many on our staff do have certifications, such as the NAPCEP certification, or the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners. And then, as you've kind of heard here, we have some degrees in specific training for renewable energy and sustainability. So one of the best things about GRNE Solar, being a fully integrated company and being one that's been around so long, we do have our own installation teams and our own electrical teams. So everything, when we're going through the Palooza and we are putting solar in your house and saving you money, is going to be completed in-house by qualified and experienced solar professionals.
Yeah, so thank you for that awesome explanation there and kind of introduction, Ryan. So our kind of primary focus that we are, bringing and kind of setting up this webinar for today is to introduce this Solarpalooza program. And essentially, this is a program that is focused for, homeowners and business owners of Naperville. So essentially what we're doing is we're trying to really connect and provide residents with everything they need to be able to install solar energy on their home and, of course, get it at, a great price. On top of this, we're also pairing up with our install teams to provide EV charging systems. So GRNE Solar is a registered, we are a registered installer for all EV chargers. So, whether it's Tesla or whether it's Chevy, we can install anything for you. So the kind of premise behind this program is a program that is based on the number of people who go solar. So what I mean by that is, it's kind of like having power or purchase power in large groups of people. the more people that decide to go solar, the lower the prices kind of get, and we'll dive into those numbers here in a little bit. But that is the whole idea behind this. On top of that, we are offering, of course, any type of financing options, zero down, and we will have incentives for folks who decide to finance as well, including cash incentives.
So really quick before we get into everything specifically, for those that may not know exactly how solar works in conjunction with your house, we want to give this slide as just a brief overview of the process that it goes through. In our day-to-day jobs, having worked with hundreds of clients, that there's some people that don't really understand when I first talk to them how solar actually works for their house. A lot of people think it's maybe you're just supplying power to the grid, and that's actually incorrect in the way it's working. So this little graph gives you this beautiful little graphic gives you a little rundown of that. So step one, obviously the first thing that happens is that the sunlight is going to hit the panels and create electricity. That's created in direct current or DC, which is not actually usable in the house. So that where we have to go into step two, where it's inverted from DC into AC. AC is or alternating current, is the power that you get if you were to go and plug something into the wall outlet right next to you right now. So once it's turned into AC, it can be used in your house, and we feed that power directly into your home where it's needed. So we'll wire the solar into your existing your breaker box, and it will feed any loads necessary at that time. So if you have your refrigerator on, your dishwasher, some lights, television, all of that will be powered directly by solar when the energy is being produced. The fourth step there is kind of working then with the grid, because in normal days, some of us are going to work. I know this is kind of a weird situation we happen to be in, but whether you're going to work or you're leaving the house, something like that, there's going to be times where you're going to be producing a lot more power than your home's actually using. And in those times, there's a great benefit called net metering that the utility grid is going to give to you. Net metering is basically just the process of you sending excess power that you've produced back out to the electric grid. And the utility, Naperville's utility, is going to credit you for any of that power. So what this really lets you do is get the full value of all the energy you create in your home.
So when people typically see solar, or when they drive by folks' homes who have solar, the first thing you're going to notice is the big black boxes on people's roofs, which are the solar panels. The solar panels are what is listed as number 2 here on our slide, and they are what take that electricity from the sun and convert it from sunlight to DC power. Now, just below that, something that is typically not seen is the racking. So that is essentially the piece of equipment that allows the panels to remain secure to the roof. So any type of wind loads, any type of snow or rain, the racking and the modules work together to make sure that they don't turn into solar sails. The third piece of equipment here is the inverter. So like Ryan mentioned, when your panels convert that DC power, or the sunlight to DC power, it's going to run through down a conduit into the inverter. So the inverter is going to convert that DC power to AC so that you can use it throughout your home. The inverter is typically considered kind of the brains of the system because it regulates what the panels are producing. It detects if there's any type of issues with the panels. So if you have a panel that goes out, this inverter piece of equipment here can actually detect that, and it will let, number one, the homeowner or business owner know, and it'll let us know, the installer, whether or not there's an issue with the system. So the inverter is a very kind of crucial piece of equipment when it comes to solar installations.
So getting into a couple of the different types of installs that you're going to see, most of everything that's going to be out there is, as illustrated in the top left here, a pitched roof. This is, I would say, probably the majority of the residential installs that we do. And this is your traditional, it's at whatever angle, seen anywhere from low 5-degree angle all the way up to 45, 50-degree angles. And whether that's a commonly, asphalt shingle roof, cedar roofs, slate roofs, tile, not much in this area, but it is possible. Metal roofs, actually, too. You're seeing a lot more pitched metal roofs on residential installations. This is going to be your most common. And the way we attach that to your roof is exactly as Connor just described in that last slide for you. We have the racking and everything's kind of just nicely sitting on your roof. As you can see by that picture, we can design the system so that it does very much blend in with your house. It's not causing anything like an eyesore. It's going to look really nice and going to provide a lot of power for you. Second, I would say probably most common type of system is what we see on the top right corner, and that's called a ballasted system. Where this is most commonly seen is on flat roofs. So whether your house has a flat roof or a business anywhere, commercial properties, there are actually a number of flat roof projects that we've completed recently in Naperville specifically that use this exact equipment. What's really nice about it is that it does use basically a plastic tray that's weighted down so that there's not going to be any kind of penetrations into the roof. Eliminates the possibility for anything to leak in there. And the beauty of it is that we can orient them so that they're going to produce optimally. We can face it directly south, and you're going to get the best production out of your panels as possible. In your bottom left, we can see that metal roof is kind of the next common one. This, as I mentioned before, is getting more and more common for residential installations, where you're seeing people using metal standing seam roofs. But also happens a lot on commercial installs where, like this picture here, the warehouse has a standing seam metal roof. We're able to just clamp right into that seam so we can mount our panels whatever way possible. The last system, the most common in the commercial scale, I should say, is the ground mounted. So this obviously, as you would expect, is going to require a lot of land. And this is going to be your more traditional solar farm, that you see kind of when you're driving on the highway, or you see on the news. We can able to pound some steel beams into the ground and then just mount the panels basically facing directly south so that they get the maximum sun exposure and can build large installations. This does happen sometimes on residential installs, but you kind of need a lot of space. So where we see it, if you live on a large parcel of land, have the space to do a ground mount, it's definitely very possible and something that is going to produce a lot of power for you. If you have the room for it, you don't even have to put anything on your roof. So it's always a good option.
Right. So one of the biggest kind of drivers for residential solar and commercial solar in Illinois right now are the available incentives that you can take advantage of. So on our slide here, we kind of have it divided into two sections, and I'll go over them in order here. So the first one is going to be residential. So for any of you folks who own homes in Naperville, as you can see, there's a plethora of different incentives you can take advantage of. So we're going to dive into each one a little more detailed, but I'll give you a little bit of an overview. The first one is the 26% federal tax credit, which is up in the top left there. This is something that you will include when you file your taxes next year, and essentially you get to take 26% of the total project cost and write it off. The next one is the renewable energy credit through the state of Illinois and electricity companies in Illinois as well. So the renewable energy credit is a cash-based incentive that arrives within a year of install. So this incentive is huge because Illinois is actually one of the few states that have this program. It allows you to essentially net about anywhere from 30 to 40% of the total project cost back in cash incentive. The next incentive is net metering. So this is kind of how Ryan mentioned back on one of our first slides. When you are sending energy back out to the grid, Naperville Electric is going to credit you for the same rate that you pay for electricity. So if you pay 12 cents for every unit of electricity you use, Naperville is going to see that you're sending, electricity out and is going to credit you at that same rate. City of Naperville is very pro-solar when it comes to permitting installations, and so much so that they actually have their own incentive program, which is fantastic. In this case, it's $1,000 or up to $1,000 for folks who decide to go solar. Um, the final incentive that you get to take advantage of, at least with this program especially, is the Solarpalooza purchase discount. So like I mentioned earlier, the more folks that decide to go solar and sign up for this program, the lower your price is actually going to drop. And we're going to dive into these numbers and kind of explain the tiers and how this works, later on. Below that, we do have some additional financing perks if you decide to finance. We do have a wonderful referral program as well. And there is a extended warranty incentive that actually comes with your system as well. On the flip side of that, we've got commercial incentives. So commercial incentives are very similar to residential. They're a little bit different, but they're rather similar. The first, of course, is going to be the federal tax credit, which is 26%. So you get to take that, you can write it off in the first year, you can choose to stretch it out over a few years if you'd like. It's really, kind of your call. The second incentive is going to be the 25% accelerated depreciation. So about 25% of your system cost you can essentially claim back through the Section 179 accelerated depreciation. Between these kind of two incentives and the kind of Naperville solar incentive, you can cover about 95% of your investment back within the first year. So this means that when you've kind of figured the numbers, start doing payback periods, payback systems are relatively short. We're talking anywhere from 1 to 5 years. We are offering a special discount for commercial programs as well through our Solarpalooza purchase program. And we will also have referral programs and specialty inverter warranties for commercial installs as well.
So as Connor mentioned, we'll dive a little bit here into each one a little bit more specifically. So the federal tax credit, this is a 26% credit to your solar system. So this is everything that's included with the array that you're purchasing. So permitting, labor, equipment, basically whatever your total cost ends up being, whether you are purchasing at just a discounted cash value or you're purchasing at your total loan value is higher because of closing costs and loan fees and everything. You just get 26% of that. You'll get to write off of your taxes. So there's no limit on that amount, and that amount can actually be rolled over multiple years. So it's a common question that we get is, what if I don't have enough taxable liability for the amount that I'm getting? And the answer to that would be that you could roll that over into multiple years to make sure that you can get all of that credit. Now, roofing is kind of another common question. A lot of times people may need to replace their roof in order to have solar, or their roof may be getting old. They don't want to have to replace the roof while panels are on there. So add some extra costs and some complications. And in special circumstances, roofs can be included under the federal tax credit. As I understand it, it's kind of a portion of the roof. My recommendation would be to talk with your specific tax advisor to see if, for your situation, that could be applicable, but keep that in mind. And the form actually specifically for this tax credit is IRS form 5695. So when I was doing my taxes this last year, H&R Block online free, when I got to the credit section, the first credit listed was residential renewable energy credit. So simply fill that form in, tell them what you paid, get a nice credit right on your taxes for it. So as part of this Solarpalooza program, we are guaranteeing that installs will be completed by the end of December for 2020. That means that you will be able to take your tax credit on your 2020 taxes. So we're making sure that everything is in this year, because as the IRS is leaning towards, and with this credit, is that you're supposed to take the credit in the year that the panels are actually placed into service on your home. So with the Palooza, everything will be installed in 2020, so you can take those credits for yourself.
Right. So our next kind of incentive that we talk about here is the Renewable Energy Credit Program. Or for short, it's going to be the REC or SREC. This incentive is really for residential properties in the state of Illinois. And it was set up from the Illinois Power Agency, and actually started essentially started paying out beginning of last year. This credit is based on the system's AC system size, and it's going to be based on the size and the annual production over the next 15 years. So when you actually get a quote for putting solar on your roof, what we do is we take the first year production of your system, and we are going to estimate that over 15 years. Those estimates, they get verified by the Illinois Power Agency, and that is exactly how you receive your credit. Systems that are under 10 kilowatts DC size will be in one lump sum. So any type of SRECs that you receive are typically going to come in just one huge cash payment within a year of your install. GRNE Solar, we are registered SREC broker and vendor for this program. So in order to process SRECs, companies have to be registered brokers, and they kind of have to, jump through a few different hoops and get certified in the eyes of the state. There are other kind of, companies that specialize in this, but GRNE, we are proud to say that we can handle everything, under one roof and not really subcontract out our work to, other vendors or other contractors. Like I previously mentioned, this SREC or REC rebate will take up to a year after installation to receive. So this is just something to kind of take into effect when you are deciding to go solar. This is something that is certified. That's something that is going to come. It just will take up to 12 months to get.
So Connor talked a little bit about net metering, so we won't belabor this point, but it's just a credit that is applied to your monthly electric bill for anything that you are sending back out to that grid. When your system produces more energy than what you're using, it's got to go back onto the grid so that Naperville's utility will send it, to your neighbors, to wherever the power is needed, and then give you the same value of that energy. So it allows you to get the full value of your power. Now, a lot of times we get questions about batteries too, and net metering is kind of the answer, I guess, if you will, to the battery question. Batteries are available for systems and can be added, mainly being used as a backup type scenario. Now, I would tell you a lot of the installations that are out in Illinois right now don't make use of any kind of battery technology, and the reason for that being net metering. Because we can get the full value of that energy, you're essentially using the grid to store the dollar value of your energy as opposed to storing the physical energy in a battery itself.
Yeah, so one of the reasons Naperville is such a great place for solar is because of the city incentive that the city offers. Naperville will actually, so let me back up here. There's two different incentives that, or the incentive is split into two sections when it comes to the city of Naperville. The first one is going to be residential. So on a residential side, you can earn up to $1,000 for your installation. This is just something that is, right after you're installed, you fill out a quick 2-page form, you submit it to them, and then that's how you get your rebate. On the flip side of that, there is going to be a incentive for commercial installations as well. So the city of Naperville has set aside $150,000 for commercial installations to kind of dole out in 2020. Each installation that is commercial can earn up to $50,000. So that's why we kind of make a point here and say that, hey, funding is first come, first serve, with this program. During this process, and when you are applying for either your residential or commercial rebates, GRNE, we will assist you in kind of filling out those forms and kind of making sure you're on the right track to receiving that incentive.
So we talked a little bit about financing in the beginning too, and financing is a great way, especially in kind of times like this. People are more hypersensitive about kind of where their money is going. More and more, it's important to be able to still see the benefits of going solar, but not have to put money straight out of your pocket for it. I know a lot of people, myself included, don't have a ton of money just sitting around waiting for nothing to happen. So that's where financing can come into play. works pretty much the same way that when you finance your regular car. We do work with some of the leading financiers in the industry and are able to offer 20 and 12-year options to allow you to go solar for absolutely nothing out of your pocket. And a special incentive that we are offering for people is that while you sign up during the Palooza time, if you are financing a system, GRNE will give you $1,000 cash incentive when your install happens. So what this is going to allow you to do is buy down your principal even further. A lot of these solar loans that we are working with are based in the fact that you do have incentives. So there's an initial term where you are paying on just a portion of the loan because the financiers understand that you are getting incentives for your project. During that time, you'll be paying your lower amount and you're waiting to get your incentives. So you'll get your tax credit, you'll get your solar renewable energy credits, you get your Naperville credit, and you can get this $1,000 cash incentive from GRNE. Together, you can use all of that to make a large payment towards the loan and re-amortize it to an even lower amount, sometimes cutting it by more than half, so that your monthly payment is just an amount of money that you could go and spend on dinner some night. If you go out, instead, that's going to be building equity in your home, allowing you to have solar and power yourself.
Yeah, so that's a great explanation of our financing program there, Ryan. So, with all these incentives, we're throwing a lot of numbers at you here. We're going to make sure to go over each one here, have a neat breakdown of what everything is going to look like. But not to throw another number at you here, but we have a referral program at GRNE as well. So if you do refer folks and they decide to sign up and they go solar, once they're installed and once they're online, you actually receive a referral bonus from them. So in this case, we offer about $50 per kilowatt. So what that means is you can earn up to $500 per person that you sign up. On average, we took actually all of our installations that we did in Naperville, and we took all of their sizes and kind of divided it by the number in order to get what our average system size was. In this case, it was actually about 8.6 kilowatts, which means on average, folks who referred other people in Naperville earned $430 back right into their pocket.
So now that we've explained kind of everything, we'll give you the real numbers behind it and why the Solarpalooza is going to be such an amazing deal for all of you homeowners and business owners in Naperville. So Connor had mentioned a couple of times that the more people that go solar, the bigger the savings are. What we're doing is we're starting these projects, selling them at $2.80 a watt. Commonly, solar is determined in your dollars per watt. So if you were to take $2.80 times an 8,600 watt system or an 8.6 kilowatt, there's going to be your cost at it. So 2.8 is definitely below what the industry average is. Right now in Illinois, about an industry average is seeing anywhere from about 2.95 to 3.1. So we're starting you low just to begin with. As more people are signing up, so for example, you see in the chart here, once we get 18 houses signed up at about our average system size, your cost will actually drop to 275 to 270 and then to 260 even after that. So as more and more homeowners are signing up, we're going to see more and more savings. Now, what this means for all of anybody signing up is that it doesn't mean you have to wait until more people have signed on to the program to get the lower cost. It means that you can sign up as soon as you can, help yourself and your fellow Naperville residents to save money. If we sign you up and the system is, you're in the current tier of $2.80, once we do work our way all the way down to 260, GRNE will be issuing you a refund or a credit back on your payment for the difference in that cost. So you can sign up at whatever time in the program and see the full final savings at the end of it. So it's a really great incentive for anybody who's buying solar to make sure that you tell your friends that they can finally get in on this thing that they're seeing all around their neighborhoods and save money themselves.
Right. So now that we've kind of explained how the program works, we will put some numbers to it here. So if you're like me and you see a lot of numbers right away, might be throwing you off a little bit. So I'm going to make sure to kind of go through this, piece by piece and make this as clear as possible. So we're going to start on the left side under cash purchase. The cash purchase is, it's completely viable way to do it. As you can see, we have cash purchase and financing as well. When it comes to cash, we took the system size up in the very top left-hand side of 8.64 kilowatts. So if you remember from a few slides ago, the average system size in Naperville was about 8.6 kilowatts. So we just kind of took the average for Naperville. We figured the annual production on that. So there are a lot of unknown factors when it comes to estimating production. So we just took the average annual production of an 8.6 kilowatt size system and put it on here as well. So at the initial program, so if the program launched or when the program launches and you are ready to go, you want to sign up and you are going to sign up at the $2.80 a watt section, your total system cost is going to be $24,192. So what this means is you will receive every single one of those incentives that we initially talked about. So the first one is that tax credit, or the ITC. That's going to be about $6,289. Second one is going to be that SREC amount, which is going to be a lump sum cash payment, $9,613. So right off the bat, you've got, half of your system paid for. So if we were to toss on Naperville's city solar incentive, that's another $1,000 right in your pocket too, which leaves your total incentives, adding everything together, to about $16,902. So as you can see, it really makes sense here because your net cost is only going to be about $7,200. So those are the guaranteed incentives that you're going to get through this program. Is you're going to get your tax credit, you're going to get your SRECs, and you're going to get your city, your solar incentive, if you sign up fast enough. Now we can kind of toss on the additional incentives, ones that, depending on the situation, you'll be given. The first one is going to be a referral program. So of course, if you refer folks, boom, that's going to be another, $430, $500 right in your pocket cash. If enough folks decide to go solar in the state, in the city of Naperville, we will apply that maximum price point that Ryan mentioned, or the lowest price point rather, of $2.60 a watt. So that's, in this case, that's going to save you about $1,700 as well. So what these two incentives essentially add up to is about $2,100. And these are like I mentioned, these are the incentives that, depending on, how many folks sign up, and if you refer people, that's the amount of money you can possibly get on top of your incentives you're guaranteed. This is going to put your net cost. So if we apply this $2,100 incentive on everything else, it's going to put your net cost at about $5,100. So, going from all the way from 24,000 down to 5,000, that's a huge savings right there.
Massive. And that's all in the first year as well too. So within the first 12 months of having your system, you can essentially eliminate 90% of the total cost into your system.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point, Ryan. So we're going to kind of switch into the financing gear here, and talk about the incentives for those. So the financing costs and the cash costs are going to be a little bit different, because we do offer, GRNE, we do just offer a base incentive to, for folks who decide to go cash. So that's why you're going to see a total cost, cash cost is going to be about $24,000, and the financing cost is going to be about $28,800. So on the financing side, just like the cash side, your incentives are going to be very similar. So the ITC you see there on the top right-hand side, about $7,400 or $7,500, that that's going to be a little bit different from your cash because the ITC scales with your total project cost. So in this case, since financing is a little bit more expensive than just buying outright, with cash, you will see a larger tax credit you can actually write off. Your SREC is going to remain the same because it's based on the system size and the annual production. So if you see at the top of both of our little charts here, the system size is both 8.64 kilowatts, and the estimated annual production is about 11,000 for each one. So we're taking the exact same system and just showing you, the difference between financing and cash. Naperville solar incentive right below that SREC, that's going to be the same too, about $1,000. So in this case, because your financing cost is a little bit more expensive, your incentives are actually going to be larger because your tax credit is increasing. So your subtotal, based on the amount of incentives, is going to be about $18,100 you would receive in the first year. So that's going to put your cost after incentives at about $10,700. A little bit more than the cash. However, we still have a little bit more to go here. If we add the real difference here with financing and cash occurs in the additional incentives that we're offering. So the referral program is going to be the same, about $430. Your Solarpalooza cost is going to be the same as well. However, we are actually offering a $1,000 cash incentive for folks who decide to finance. So what this means is once you decide to sign up and we're actually going to give you $1,000 in cash. When we stack all of these incentives on top of each other, your net cost is going to be about $7,500. So there's totally a lot of numbers here. So if you are a little lost in some of the finer details of these incentives, that's what we're kind of here to do is clarify. And if you have any questions, we will talk about the next steps and how we're really going to clear up any questions you might have.
Yeah, and I just wanted to actually interject two things for you there, Connor. I did a great job explaining all of this. The first thing that I think is important for everybody to know is that our referral program has no upper limit requirements. So if you are, super social butterfly, have tons of friends who want to go solar and you tell all of them about it, they're mentioning your names, we are not limiting you to any number of referrals. So,
right.
Whereas in this table, we have you at 430, say one program, you could refer, 10 or 15 people, all of it. And you could essentially work your net cost down to, next to nothing, basically. There's no limitations on that. And then
that's a great point, Ryan.
Yeah. And then the other point I wanted to make too, on the financing side, because you are financing, you're going to get just an easy monthly payment. I wanted to break out a little bit what this actually looks like. Because you aren't just, you're not putting everything out of pocket. You're simply just purchasing the system. So as it stands with just our regular, the guaranteed incentives for that system, what you'd be looking at is just initial payments for that first initial term of $125, which if you're needing this much power for your home, it's probably more than that's probably less than what you're actually paying for your energy right now. So right off the cuff, you're going to be seeing savings directly from having solar. If you were to take those incentives that you're given then and drop your, use it to pay down the principal of your loan, you can drop your payments to just under $60 a month, which is crazy low for being able to purchase solar for yourself. So that's just the regular one. Now, if we were to add in the extra incentives, so referral bonus, our financing perk $1,000, the Palooza discount, what you're looking at is essentially you could be dropping your monthly payment from $125, not that bad, right, to just under $40 a month. $40. You could spend that if you're just ordering Grubhub, trying to get yourself food for the evening because you're still stuck inside. $40, and that's just going to be just so you can have solar, be helping the environment, be putting money back into your pocket.
Right, and I think that's something definitely important to talk about, Ryan, because that's really where your margin of savings is. Because if you really think about it, you're getting anywhere from 100, maybe you have a $250 bill a month. the point of it is to, number one, have solar, and number two is, when you are installing that solar, if you are financing it, your payments are going to be, a half, or like you mentioned, possibly even a quarter of what your normal electricity bill is. So if we're assuming solar is going to be providing 100% of your electricity, you're going to be saving, a huge sum of money each month, just from financing.
So obviously then this leads you into the next steps, and Connor kind of talked about that a little bit, but the next thing we want to connect with you. We want to help you to save money. And like I mentioned in the beginning, we want to help you stop renting your power from the utility grid. There's no return on that investment, and your power really is an investment. Instead, you can go solar, you can own your power and own your own freedom and sustainability in how you power your house. So what you can do is visit us at grnesolar.com/solarpalooza, fill out a free quote form, and then one of us, myself, Connor, Andrew, will be reaching out to you to help discuss your unique solar needs. So we'll look into a specific system for your house and the power that you need, and we'll generate a quote, send it to you, and we can work with you to determine exactly what's going to work best for your home. Now, especially an important note is this last one. In these crazy times we live in, all of this can be done completely virtually. So we are, as you can see here, doing Zoom, well equipped to be able to do online proposals, whether it's over the phone, whether it's over a video chat. We're able to help you in any way we possibly can to get you to save money. So absolutely go visit us at our website. You can follow us on our social medias as well. Reach out, because we want to help you put money back into your pocket.
Right. So we appreciate you guys. We appreciate everybody who, views this. If you guys have any questions at all about anything we covered today, we, welcome, any type of questions you might have. So if you're a resident of Naperville, or hey, if you're viewing this and you don't live in Naperville, visit our website at www.grnesolar.com/solarpalooza. We are also on pretty much every type of social media out there, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Additionally, Ryan and one of our other folks, one of our other employees, runs a awesome podcast covering anything from environmental topics to renewables to kind of what's in the news. So go on to any of wherever you get your podcasts and search "What's Up" to check out our podcast.
Yes, thank you guys so much. And actually, one thing I want to add on to what Connor said, it's a great point we should have mentioned earlier here. If you don't live in Naperville, but you are watching this just because you want to learn, the referral bonus can still apply to you. So if you have family, friends, somebody you know who lives in Naperville who may be interested, send them over our way, tell them that you sent them, and we will be happy to give you a referral bonus for anything they sign up with.